Good afternoon. This is Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing, but it's a thing we want you tuned into every Saturday afternoon. I'm Elsa McGee, your host, and I'm here doing the same thing I've been trying to do ever since we started the show back in 2004. Trying to make sense out of a sensitive situation called the plight of veterans in the USA and the USA with the plight of veterans. And I'm here with my road dog, my partner in crime, Tony. Thank you, brother, for sticking with me. I have been. This is Black History Month.
Yes.
This is the last show that we'll be able to do in Black History. And I woke up this morning with, like I do every morning, praying and then watching TV. I clicked on the Medgar Evers story. Woo!
Yeah.
I laid there and I watched the whole movie. It makes me feel this way. Black history is American history.
Exactly.
Yes. We can't let these folks. And I mean, when I'm watching the movie, I'm thinking about this governor in Florida.
Yeah.
And the people in the Republican Party right now that's running on this racist stuff that they got going on, where they one of the scenes in the movie say nobody is above the law. Mm-hmm. But what we've seen and what we've seen more clearly since Donald Trump became president is that there is some people in this country that's above the law.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That's above the law. That's why it took 30-some years to get justice for shooting a veteran in the back because he wanted to vote.
Yeah.
That's where this country is today. It's kind of sad because, I started last week and I was here asking this question: do veterans vote matter? And I want to continue that, Tony, because it's so essential that we look at and remember Albert E. Love. We can't forget that veteran. We had some very powerful veterans out of this city, out of this area that brought. I consider them prophets. I look at Albert E. Love and Jose Williams and look at all these are veterans that I felt gave us an opportunity to look at America because they learned what military service is all about. And it should be a reflection of how the government function on every level. But it's not. And I think it's not because some people in power have learned how to manipulate the system to the point where either we don't go vote, they scare us out of the vote, or they Gerald Mingle us out of the vote. They do everything possible to keep our vote low. So that means we never get a chance to elect people that represent us.
Yes.
And you know what? Seeing the Medgar Evers story, I realized that, God made us all. But I think that he made some of us to be soldiers.
Yes. Yeah.
Just to be cold soldiers, to take this battle. Because sometimes, what we be doing, Tony, I ask, do it make sense? Lobbying the government to do things for veterans in Fulton County, and veterans don't even know about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We got to be able to understand that if we gonna get the government to work, we all got to be engaging it. We cannot sit back and let them make decisions that don't represent us or the government that we pledge allegiance to. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. We did that. We had that pledge every day.
Every day. At least once a day.
At least once a day.
Yeah.
Not just brothers, but Everybody.
Yes.
You know, what color, what community, what town you came out of, we all made the same pledge. In some kind of way, Tony, I believe that most of us meant it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, and I'm talking about white, black, and Hispanic, and Native Americans, and Jewish Americans, and all that served. I think that they meant this pledge, and they wanted this union that we was pledging to. You know, since starting the Sons of Atlanta, I began to look at the history of military service more keenly. And I noticed something. In none of the major wars, when you're telling the war stories on major media, do I see faces that look like mine. The heroes.
Yes.
They don't look like me. And I start wondering why they don't look like me. I know what I served with.
Yes.
I was in battle in the Vietnam War, one of the most controversial wars we had in the last 100 years. But it was the first war where we fully integrated the U.S. military. And during that integration, I formed bonds with people that don't look like me, and we are friends to this very day.
Exactly.
And not only did I become noticeable to them, I became noticeable to their family, to their friends. And this what causes us to be this great melting pot, or it should be. It should be. But it's not, because what we are witnessing today is some of the same stuff that Major Elbridge got shot in the back about.
Yeah.
We're looking at the PAC Act. Greatest extension of VA benefits in the history of the country. But it's not fair to all veterans. It's not treating all veterans with liberty and justice. It's not. I can't look at it and say anything else, Tony. I want to.
Yeah.
Because I want the picket fence. I want all them benefits that they say we earn from that service. I want all those rights that they say we have in this country, and I don't want it just for myself. I want it for everybody.
Yes.
Because that's what I pledge allegiance to.
Yep.
I pledge allegiance to that. And I think it's time for us to call our brothers and sisters out all over the country that pledge that allegiance and say, do your vote matter? Are we going to keep voting for people that will attack the government, violently attack the government?
Right.
Are we going to keep voting for people that got an alternative motive for being in government? They're not there to serve the purpose of the government, to work for all the people, but they're there to work for a select group of people. You got people in this country right now, and some of them in government, that want a white nation. And that ain't even possible no more. So they will destroy the communities in this nation because they can't have what they want. This is Veterans Talk. We just here talking, veterans talking to veterans. And if you want to join the conversation, you can. Just call 470-251-4647 and join the conversation. So we want to know, do veterans votes really matter? And I'm saying this looking at every level of government that we are dealing with. And Tony, we dealing with, we go in their office, knock on the door, they see us coming and they try to go another way. Or they want to just take a photo out.
Yeah.
But after the elections, we need to start thinking about the next election, looking at the people that we have elected and seeing that they do what they're supposed to do while they're there.
Yes.
If not, we need to identify and find.
Yes. You know, just like we pledged to the flag, they did also.
They did also.
But for some reason, their interpretation of their pledge differs from what it actually says. the pledge is perfectly clear about what it's saying, but they're choosing to interpret it in a different way or just choosing to ignore it altogether.
And you know what? I'm so glad you say interpret.
Yeah.
Because, see, the truth is the truth.
Yes.
But when you start interpreting the truth, then you're going to get something else.
Yes.
You know, I can look at the fact that I served in Vietnam, and when I got wounded in 1968, there was no PTSD recognition.
Yeah.
Period. There was no Agent Orange recognition. Period. But because of the Constitution and the government that we have, we was able to make this law.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
We was able to make these changes that was necessary to do the right thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But doing the right thing in legislation don't mean administration.
Yes.
The administration of the laws in this country is done through people that are hired or appointed by those people we elect.
Mm-hmm.
I miss Reverend Love, because Reverend Love could just break it down in ways that he had you stand up there thinking about. He said, you just killed yourself.
Yeah.
Because you don't know who representing you.
Exactly.
You know, he called it from the dog catcher all the way up to the president. He said you should know, because these people determine where you live, how you live, where your kids go to school, what kind of school they going to, what they learn when they're in school. We see this right now in Florida, where the guy trying to change the whole curriculum and say our history don't make no sense.
Yeah.
How do these people get in government? We elect them to government.
Mm-hmm.
Now, let's go back to the military, Tony.
Yeah.
You know, you was in the Air Force and I was in the Army. But we had the same pledge.
Yes.
We had the same military code of conduct that we had to follow.
Mm-hmm.
We knew when Reveille called to be there. If you wasn't there in 15 minutes, you was AWOL.
Yes.
It wasn't no interpretation of what that meant. You know, you couldn't rationalize not being where you were supposed to be, doing what you were supposed to be when you were supposed to be doing it.
Yes. Yes.
Veteran votes got to start mattering to get these folks out of our government. What we've actually have done, Tony, I feel somewhat allowed ourselves to be infiltrated by people that don't want the same government that we got. Yeah. So they're willing to undermine it in any kind of way that they can. And looking at it, and looking at our service, we should be the first one to stand up and say, "Oh, wait a minute, well, you're off the table. You're not doing it by the book. I know what the military code of conduct demanded of me. I did it.
Yeah.
And I didn't never come up with no excuse for doing it."
You know, what was written, what we were taught, and what we lived by was that code of contact that made it possible for us to work as a military unit. It was so necessary for us as veterans to improve the situation in our military and how we were going to act. That was one of the things that was so important about the military, is learning how to operate within the system. And we all learned how to operate in the system because it was extremely necessary for this to happen. Yes. Yeah.
Wait a minute. What you want?
Yeah.
Slide towards the
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I need to slide towards them.
Yes. There you go. You.
Okay. We're just shifting. We're just shifting to get a real soldier on the deck today. This is my personal soldier here.
right here.
Okay.
Yeah. There we go.
Listen.
We're having a little technical challenge here, but we're just about to straighten it out, and we're now ready to operate.
But listen, this is my
Yes.
friend. This is probably one of my best friends on planet Earth. You know. And now we go back. we got a cold history, right?
Yeah.
Because she's a veteran that done walk the walk, and one of those overcoming veterans.
Yeah.
That overcomer. I mean, because she's a soldier. Mm-hmm. You know, and I'm so glad to see her, to have her here with me today. I've been trying to get her here, so you know, I think I threatened her a couple of times too.
Yeah, you did.
Melanie, I love you, baby. How you doing?
I'm doing all right, Reverend McGee. I'm here.
Yes, you're here. You're here.
Yes.
Listen, I wish you could sing. I mean, I know you can sing, but I'm one day we're gonna have you on here just to do that. But today, what we're talking about is these benefits.
Oh,
This
yes.
VA, whether we voting in the right way, whether we getting the right people in office to take care of us the way they supposed, way we took care of them.
Absolutely.
You know, so thank you, baby, for getting it. Thank you for getting. Tony was talking though. Go ahead, Tony. I'm just so glad and excited to see Melanie. Go ahead, Tony.
I totally understand. You are more than welcome. We are glad to see you here. Mm-hmm. Yes. But we were talking about the military training and everything, and our Pledge of Allegiance. It is an interesting thing, the fact that we all pledge allegiance to this flag. However, the term that I use for, we have portions of our political community that are choosing to interpret it differently, interpret it in a way that doesn't conform to what it actually says. And they're trying to use that to their advantage to suppress a part of the community.
Which part of the community we're talking about?
We're talking about those of us of color.
Oh, okay.
Yes, yes. And that's something that we're dealing with, and it's a real challenge. It's a real challenge.
Yes.
But because of our belief system, I'll put it this way, because of my belief system in the system, I believe that at some point we will get beyond that. Those people who are trying to suppress us will be seen for what they are. You know, the challenge for me is, how can you suppress a portion of the history of the people of this country? And that's one of the things we're dealing with now, particularly, I'm going to call his name, the governor of Florida, DeSantis. Mm-hmm. The idea of selective education. The idea of possibly not including a part of American history that is critical to American history. You know, we are American history. Our history is American history. And that's why we're putting a lot of importance on the fact that this month, even though we're being specific about African American history, but it's one of the few times that we can actually have the power to speak about our history and have it heard. Mm-hmm. You know, we speak about it all year long, but the idea of recognizing this 28-day period of selective identification and recognition of American history is just so important. And so we're trying to make that something that is heard. And that's why we're talking about it here on our show, about military history and American history. We're all a part of it.
Exactly.
It is unfortunate that we're dealing with this. This is not something that we as American citizens should even be concerned about. Everybody should be wanting to include the history of all Americans.
All Americans.
And we aren't just talking about Black Americans. We have Native Americans who they have chosen to...
That was the first lie. Excuse me. That was the first misinterpretation.
Yes,
you cannot interpret an invasion as a discovery.
Yes,
that's right.
Yes.
You know, I mean, that's interpreting now. You know, that's misinterpreting the realities of our day. And this is what these folks want to do again.
Yeah.
I was talking about this Maverick Everett story and how this morning, you know, seeing that story and listening to the actors saying this one thing, that this racism in this country is crazy. And if the people that are holding on to racism think that that's going to create them a separate white nation, that's insanity.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, I mean, why would you be trying to hold on to something that God has not ordained? You know, we are all created by one God. We done misinterpret a lot of the history.
Yeah.
You know, if we go back to the Bible, we're going to start talking about some stuff that these churches need to be. Dr. King said the most segregated hour in America is on Sunday morning.
Yes.
And I think that's where the beginning of the addressing needs to begin. The beginning of the conversation, the beginning of the accountability needs to start with our church.
Mm-hmm. Yes, yes.
That's where it needs to start, because that's where people still to this day go to for direction, for hope, for guidance, for counseling.
Right. Yeah.
So if the truth was being told in the pulpits, if the truth were being told at our conventions and our gatherings and our revivals, if the truth was being told there,
we have a different world.
then we would have a totally different perspective on how we could go about holding those people that we vote into office accountable.
Yes.
That is where it starts, because if you don't get the truth here in your nucleus and your foundation, then if you're building your house on sand or deception or lies or deceit or untruths or fables or fathoms, then what you're going to get is tentacles of the same fruit.
Right.
So
Now,
we need to start there.
Listen, I'm going to tell you something. I like what the word says, when all of God's children get together.
Yes, it's true.
Yeah.
What a time we're going to have.
Powers in numbers.
Powers in numbers.
Yeah.
And, you know, see, a lot of people might not think that we're Christians up here.
Oh, I am. I absolutely am.
Listen, you know, all of us are sold out Christians.
Yes.
I mean, it's so
Faults
complete.
and all.
So, listen, sold out to the Word of God.
Yes.
And what you just spoke was the truth that we have to wake up with. And now, but I'm, you know, being a preacher, I got to go back here. We cannot depend on the preacher for the Word of God.
No, absolutely not. I said, if you notice, I said those that depend. Those that depend on the counseling and on the pastors. You got to have your own personal relationship with the Lord.
You got to
Jesus
do that
Christ.
with that. That's
But
the
you got to. But if you depend and you go to church to hear,
and we got to make sure what
That's
you
what
said
needs
is so
to be
true,
true.
because we don't want to mislead
Nobody.
these.
Yes.
See, that's what's happening now. Those that are babes in the Word, they are being misled by you know, from the pulpit, and that's, you know what? That's that warfare. That's that warfare.
spiritual warfare is
That's
real.
that warfare.
Yes, it is.
And that's why we're here with Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing.
That's right.
But it's a thing that we want you to tune into, because, see, veterans, I think, are going to be the saviors of this country. Why? Yeah. Because, see, we're not afraid of each other. That's the first thing. See, we got fascists in our community, and it's just that warfare that got us so afraid of each other that we cannot unify in the community to address the common problems. That crime is a common problem. We got people thinking that, well, Buckhead, if you cut off from Atlanta, you ain't gonna have no crime problem. we you know, we got to get people to understand that no matter what you think, God is within each and every one of us.
Yeah.
That's right.
Each and every one of us. His spirit is in each and every one of us. And until we embrace that reality and understand that some of us just don't lean to the Spirit of God.
That's right.
We lean another way. And that's the spiritual warfare that we're up against. That's why we need the preachers to preach the gospel the way it is. We don't need those interpretations, Tony. Because I heard some preacher told, so I told him I'm gonna save him. I said, ooh, it scared me, because I can't save nobody.
Exactly.
I know somebody do though. I can do that.
Right.
I can do that part. But looking to me to say, I can't save me.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm a soldier still. I think
right.
God made
We're
me
soldiers in the army of the Lord. So we
Yeah.
don't went from fighting on the physical battlefield to actually fighting in the spirit. And that's truth is definitely a sword. And it's to be used and yielded towards the deception, the darkness, the lies, the division, the racism, you know. And as long as we have breath in our bodies, we need to be able to stand up and speak the truth.
That's what I'm saying.
And hold
That's what
those that are in a place to make a decision and make a change. Yeah, we need to hold them responsible.
See, that's why we're saying, do veterans' votes matter?
Yes.
We need to make sure that it matters. We can make it matter right now by telling these people that's elected and serving in our governments right now what they got to do about these automatic weapons in our community.
Right.
Get them out.
That's right.
Yeah.
Veterans can make sure they do that.
Yes.
And I know this for a fact. I don't care what color a veteran is.
That's right.
He don't want that weapon in his community.
Yeah.
I don't care what religious faith that veteran is. If even he don't want no automatic weapon in his community. We need to stand up to these politicians right now and say the Constitution gives individual rights. When you start telling a woman what to do with her body, you are taking her constitutional rights away from her.
That's right.
Yes.
We need to have these folks interpret the Constitution the way the Constitution is, so that we can get the beloved community. I like that that whole concept of the beloved community, because I've lived in a military environment where we all got along.
Right.
Yeah. Yes.
We all learned together. We ate together.
Yep.
You know, when we served together.
We even worshiped together.
We sure did.
Yes.
Yes. We even worshiped
Yes.
together.
We sure did.
Yes.
So this is why we got Veterans Talk. Don't nobody else want this conversation that we're having right now, but we don't care. We're gonna have it.
Yes.
And
You know, a conversation reminds me of back when Bush came on TV. Right after I had one of my emotional meltdowns because we were going to war, and he said that the armed services need to go overseas and handle the gentleman over there that had the weapons of mass destruction. Well, we need to have the same type of sentiments when it comes to people here in our country that are now yielding weapons of mass destruction in our neighborhoods, in our stores, you know,
in our schools, in our churches.
We need to have the same type of urgency
in our shopping centers.
Yes.
In our communities. It's not safe. Listen, I felt more comfortable in Vietnam than I do walking down my own street right now.
Because you knew who the enemy was.
Exactly. Now you don't.
Now you don't
Cannot
know.
tell.
You don't know what he looks, because he didn't look like us. But now they look like us.
They look like us.
You know, and that's the scary part.
Every day I wake up in my hometown, Tony, I hear two mothers crying.
Yeah.
One because their child has been murdered, and the other because their child is being sought by the law.
Yeah.
When are we going to unite in our community and deal with these problems? They can be dealt with. They can be dealt with. We got to stop looking to politicians, though, to deal with them.
Yeah.
We got to go to the nucleus. Like I said, the church and the families. We've got the truth has to come from the pulpit.
It come from the pulpit.
It has to.
And-
All this
and-
other
and-
rhetoric and nonsense that they
Well, see,
talking,
now,
we
it's
need
a
to
few-
be talking
it's
unity.
a few of us. We might not be. We might not. Well, we in the pulpit, but see, we coming to the streets. We coming to the airways. We coming to whatever way I can get the word out to make sure the people understand that when no weapon formed against me shall prevail.
Exactly.
That's when you are vested in the word of God. And he says this too. Listen, if my people call by my name, y'all.
You keep it up. We're going to get to collection plate.
So how many veterans are in Georgia now? I think
700,000 of us, over 700,000 of us in the state of Georgia.
So we can
should
definitely make a
control who represent us.
Yes.
Because now I'm so glad you did that, because I think I did this here last year when we was talking about the breakdown. It's 700,000 in the state of Georgia.
I think it's over 700.
It's over 700,000. But now let me tell you something. All of these people voting in the high 90s. We have one of the highest voting records in the state of Georgia, in the country, really.
Percentage of voters
and
participation.
Participation, the highest one. But the problem is that there's at least 29% of those are dying-to-wood Republicans.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you got another 30-some% of dying-to-wood Democrats, and they now party doing what they're supposed to do.
Neither one.
Yeah.
Now that's the truth.
Now the rest of us are called independent voters. We're the swing voters.
Yep.
But we ain't swinging nothing because we ain't talking nothing. We just going along to get along.
Yep.
We need to upset the apple cart.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah.
We got the numbers.
Yeah.
You know, we got the reasons. That PAC Act need to be amended yesterday
Yeah.
to recognize the military bases in this country where that stuff was stored, used, tested, and people was exposed to it and dying and getting sick from it.
Yeah.
Yep, they do.
They need to amend that act. Then they need to go to the VA and replace it with a system that's not an adversary to veterans.
Okay.
That's not an adversary.
Yeah.
It didn't start off as an adversary. It was set up to deliver the benefits that you earn from this military service.
Exposure.
Now it has been infiltrated,
Wow.
like infiltrated
Yeah.
by people that want to start paying taxes on disability benefits. That's what the Republicans are proposing right now.
Yeah.
Right now. I'm not talking, listen. This is Veterans Talk. I ain't gonna give you no information that's false. Ain't no misleading stuff coming up in here, because if you do, they'll tell them.
Yeah. Right.
He'll tell them. They'll call me out.
Yeah.
They sure will.
You was finna say
Yeah.
something.
Yeah. It was more of a response. The fact that I'm blown away by this is happening. And it appears that the country is just allowing it to happen.
Well, now, let me tell you something, Tony.
Okay.
The spirit of idolatry.
Yes.
I don't want to talk about that now. Y'all gonna make me preach in a minute. Listen.
In a minute.
We care more about things
Yeah.
than we do people.
Yeah.
I'm just telling you the truth. What God wants the truth us out of us. We and I'm gonna tell you something. My grandchildren don't have time for my great grandchildren. They give them a tablet and a cell phone and let them teach them what to do. And idolatry is keeping that going. The spirit of idolatry, that's that warfare we're talking about. We have to keep it in context, because Greg Fann, the preacher man, always says this: if God ain't in it, you can't win it. You got to keep God as the centerpiece of all what we do, or we just whistling in the wind.
Yeah.
But Veterans Talk gonna keep it doing. You can like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter now. We trying to get out there to these over 700,000 veterans in the state of Georgia, 22 million in America, to let's take our country back. We went to war, we went to service because we want to serve this country so it could be the country that we all want. We served in an environment, I mean, Melanie Moore, a later generation, me and Tony had to take the fist fights in the barracks, but she came in a later generation where she could see the integration that has been laid by the generations before. I was listening to the Mega Everest story, and his problem was when he came out of the military in World War II, he was upset with the military being a segregated entity and the racism that was there. But he loved this country, and he said, I love Mississippi.
Yeah.
Enough to fight for it. Enough to serve for it. And every veteran is like that. Every veteran served. They believe in that liberty and justice for all. And we know it can be done because we seen it done in the military. We're not saying it was perfect, but it was a good start.
Yes.
And right now, you can look at the U.S. military and see how well people do together with diversity.
Yeah.
It is the most diversified, most integrated part of our society, and it's one of the most effective parts of our society. I mean, I was so impressed. I'm always impressed with them. I want to just salute my grandson and all the other young people that are serving today. But I was so impressed during COVID, not just watching them in natural disasters, but watching them in our country come in and build hospitals.
Yes.
Come in and just bring up hospitals overnight. You know, I mean, we got an awesome military. And it's because of the diversity that it has been allowed to take place, you know, and nurtured. If we start doing that for the rest of society, 2% of the population would own 90% of the wealth. I know that. And I think
that's true.
That's where idolatry is being fed, though, by the 2%ers. Because if they start seeing all these young man, I was watching the Super Bowl. 2 black quarterbacks for the first time in history. Boy, and they showed out. That was the best game. I didn't care who won. I mean, really, I was kind of pulling for the Eagles, but it didn't make no difference because it was the best Super Bowl I ever seen, Tony.
I didn't watch it, so it was good.
That was. But then now I'm saying this to say this. Sports has been another part of integration in this country.
It sure has.
That showed us how well we can do
teamwork
when we just drop the stupidity. You know, sports have shown us what we can do when we stop. The entertainment industry has shown us what we can do when we stop the stupidity. We got the rest of society watching these entertainers, and then they listening to these demagogues that don't ever want you to be where they at. Ain't gonna let you be where they at.
Yes.
Cause what they gonna do, they gonna interpret stuff to keep you confused.
That's right. They will sow those seeds of division every time.
And that's why we need Veterans Talk. That's why we need to be here every Saturday talking about these things. Because see, I go to Fort McPherson, VA. I went out there to Fort McPherson, VA. The last time I was out there, I got put out. The VA put me out. And it was the VA police, and I want to salute the young brother that did. He's come on back, bro. They weren't supposed to treat you like that. They done put me out in the cold and broke all up. I mean, they tell me get home the best way you can. What? But you know, the young brother called the transportation. They sent an Uber 15 minutes after he called. But I couldn't even get that care from my team of providers. Well, we closed. You got to go.
That was after you had the car accident?
That was after I had the car accident.
That was the day you had the car accident?
No, that was after I had the car accident. I was out there, put me out in the cold to stand outside because they closed. Do veterans vote matter?
Yes.
What we got to understand, these governments, we know how they can function, how well they can function. We done got infiltrators and haters. Infiltrators and haters. You know, we always had haters. Now they done become infiltrators because they got smart. They took off the robes and put on suits.
Well, now you preach. They took off the robes
and put on the suits.
Put on the suits. Okay.
And then some of them sitting on a bench.
Yes.
They're all over our government because we are not voting like we pledge allegiance to the flag. We pledge allegiance to this flag, and then we get out of the military. We're supposed to get these benefits, and we go to the VA, and they run us around in a circle for years. You know, for years. I'm doing...
Like a hamster on a wheel.
Listen, I'm doing DIC cases. I'm doing all kind of cases now, but the DIC cases, these are surviving spousal cases, are the one that trouble me the most right now. Because I tell people this all the time. if you don't die from the service-connected cause of death, your DIC is dead with you. They don't get no benefits. And what happens, most of us have these issues before we die. And I tell them, you got 100%, that don't mean I'm 100% with PTSD. I got to commit suicide in order for a DIC to prevail. But I got a heart condition after I got the 100% for. So I filed for the heart condition because that's what's going to take me out.
Yeah, that's
Yep.
okay.
See what I'm saying? I'm not going to commit suicide.
Right. So
I might maybe a homicide or two, but no,
you're not gonna do that either.
I ain't gonna do that either. You know, but see, one of the things that when we start looking at the VA and how it's supposed to operate, it is not supposed to be adversary.
right.
The minute you establish your authenticity as a veteran, it's supposed to start helping you develop your claim. Name the 3 elements to a claim. Once you prove them 3 elements, they're supposed to give you benefits.
So what 3 elements are there?
Well, first of all, you got to have a current diagnosis of a illness, right? Current diagnosis of illness. I got a heart condition. It's diagnosed. I had to have a service nucleus, right? Meaning I got to connect that heart condition to something that happened to me in service or started in service, right?
Okay, so that's called a nexus.
Nexus.
Okay, gotcha. All right.
And then I got to connect that to an ongoing impact in my life. In other words, does it impact me? How does it impact me? How does this disability impact me? That's where your rating comes from. You can go from 0 to 100% with a disability. You know, so once you do those 3 things, you're supposed to get your benefits. Why is people dying before they get their benefits? Why is we stuck in a process for years? I'm talking about Robert Dixon. I don't know whether you listen today. We just got a remand from the Board of Veteran Appeals, 2004.
So from back in 2004.
Back in 2000.
Until 2023.
This is 2023.
2023. I did a list of what we call it Atlanta 25 back in 2011 when Atkinson was senator. Most of them have gotten their benefits. Some of them have died. A lot of them died before they got their benefits. We've been hollering about system changes forever. Every news media we get about the Atlanta VA says it's the worst in the country, but ain't nobody moved to change it yet.
Yeah.
Do veterans vote matter? We are voting for the wrong folks. And when we get them in there, we don't call them to responsibility. If you miss Reveille, you ain't got you got Article 15 when you get back to the company. We watch people attack the Capitol and they still running around talking about the election was stolen and ain't no evidence of it being stolen. They still walking free.
And some of them are elected to office.
That's
Again.
right. Isn't that something?
Yes.
You know why?
Yeah.
Because we ain't looking at what we're doing. We don't have a mission for our vote when we go to the vote. We just voting for personalities, people that they get up there and say something that make us feel good, and we go with it.
Yep.
And when they get in office, they don't do nothing. You know, I'm gonna tell you what. I love riding down Ponce de Leon, but I don't like riding down Cascade because Cascade tear up my car.
Yeah.
Ponce de Leon, you just smooth ride.
Yeah.
I pay the same taxes.
There's those people that drive down Ponce de Leon. Yeah.
Do veterans vote matter?
Yes, it does.
We got to make it matter.
Yes.
It don't matter to them if we don't make it matter. We just keep giving it to them because we going to the poll and think that's I'm being a good citizen. No, what you're doing, you're putting too much faith in people rather than listening to what they say. They tell you where they're at.
Exactly.
They'll tell you where they're at in a minute.
Yes.
See, you had a bunch of people that got on the Supreme Court that said that they weren't going to overturn Roe versus Wade.
And what happened?
Yeah.
As soon as they got an opportunity to do it, they totally
Exactly.
And they waiting to turn over more laws because what? Law, we are a country of laws. We elect people to make these laws, and these people are supposed to make the laws for the betterment of the people.
Of the people.
Yes.
All the people. Not a segment of the people. And I'm trying to figure this one out. God gave all of us choice. He gave us all choice.
Free will.
Free will.
Yes.
I can't understand why we sitting so silently by why we got legislators that want to legislate a woman's body.
Yeah.
I mean, now, don't get me wrong. I'm anti-abortion. I'm true anti-abortion, right? But I don't think that gives me the right to tell a woman what to do with her body.
Yeah.
That's between her and God. Mm-hmm. He gonna deal with the inequities with that. I don't want elect nobody to office in any level of government. That's what they go into government to do, to start telling people what to do with their body.
Yeah.
That's a little bit overgrown. That's like being you 1/3 or 2/3 of a human. That was law. Mm-hmm. We got rid of that law. We got rid of the people that was making. Well, we got the children.
Some of them.
We got the children.
Yeah. we got
the children in there
Yeah.
now. So it ain't got no better because we haven't gotten any better.
That's right.
See, we got to be able to take responsibility for our benefits.
Right.
Those benefits were meant for the veteran, family, and the community.
That's right.
And when you're not getting, when the veteran not standing up getting his benefits, he's cheating his family and his community.
Yeah. Right.
And his community should have a voice in that say so.
Right.
See, that's why we need to make sure that we got in every community center, we got help stations to tell people about the benefits that they got. Let me say this too. I just really got something. I got to tell this. The housing loan is a scam. The VA home loan apparatus is I just bought a house with a 560 credit score.
Yeah.
I don't know why they turning veterans down around the country. Why are they not letting you get your benefits? Because somebody said you got to have a 640, or somebody said you got to have a 680. I engaged the process, and I went in there with a 560. That is a poor credit score. I should have bought my letter. I got my letter where your home loan has been approved and blah, blah, blah. What about the millions of veterans that's being denied? See, I have been able to expose this VA claim process in so many different ways, and I thank God for that, because he made me a witness to what is going on with this system. See,
a possibility part of that is what you just said. If you know what your credit score is and they said they don't apply. Not realizing that apply anyway, because there are.
Anyway.
And
I don't care.
And now what they do, they got some companies that popping up say bad credit score. Now what they do is, and this we're going to take, they put you in a high interest rate.
Okay.
That's how they do the credit stuff. And now one of the bureaus are credible.
Right.
That's true.
Right.
Now, that's true. Because I'm always disputing my credit report because there's stuff on there that has nothing to do with me.
Yes.
Period.
But this is what guides you. This is what lock you out of the economy.
Yep.
This is what lock you out of your benefits in America.
You're right.
And we need to vote people in office in our governments that's going to do the Constitution. That's going to, listen, I pledge allegiance to the flag. I pledged allegiance to the flag. I almost died doing it. You know, I was there with people that died doing that. And I'm supposed to come back and be silent because they don't live up to it? I ain't going to be that kind of hypocrite. I'm not going to let them You know, they say, they ain't gonna let you punk me like that. I'm just not finna do that.
Yep.
Because see, if I let you do me, my children are watching me.
Right. Right.
They're watching.
You're right.
And not just watching you, they're losing your benefits. They're losing the things that you served for,
Right.
and that is provided for them by your service.
Tony, thank you, brother.
And so what? You just can't sit by and allow that to happen. It is challenging, but you can't sit by and allow, because if you sit by and allow it to happen without challenging it, then they're going to get this, oh, well, we can get away with that. And then the next thing, and it will be a progression.
They progressively changing the system.
Yes.
This year alone, the 1st of January, they changed their unemployability, which was crumble. And I stopped doing claims for unemployability. Why? If you get unemployability after January 1st, 2023, when you turn 67 years old, it turns into Social Security retirement. That's about $2,000 difference in income.
Less income.
Less.
Oh, yeah.
They take every time they meet, because we don't vote right, they take advantage of us. They say, okay, they went for this, we're gonna try this. I mean, why are the Republicans talking about entitlement reform? They want to reform Social Security. You got some people, that's all they got.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's all they get.
And it's the minimum.
And it's under poverty. It's worse than the minimum wages.
Yes.
Wow.
And the sad part about it is they don't have a problem presenting these plans. You know, it's as if it's not as if they don't care.
I was going to say,
yes,
because if it was affecting their families like that, the changes would be made appropriately.
Yes.
But it's evidently not affecting them.
Yes.
So, and their constituents who are voting them in office really want to believe that they care about them,
Listen,
and they really don't.
They do not care.
Wow.
we had a Democratic senator standing on his yacht,
Yes.
saying that $15 an hour minimum wage was not going to happen.
Right. Yes.
Too much. So what you just pointed out, I want all Americans to recognize that we got people making decisions about us that they wouldn't live upon.
Yeah.
That's why I'm asking the question, do veterans vote matter?
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter whether they're Republican or Democrat.
Exactly.
They're all telling the same. They're telling us what they think we want to hear. They're telling us what they're telling us, that they're going to back things that they wouldn't even allow their own family to be, or themselves to be subjected to.
Yeah.
And it's time for us to,
It's time for veterans
to make a change.
to make a change. Veterans need to tell. See, and then one reason I'm saying, do veteran vote matter? We are that swing vote. We are that element that can make it change.
Yeah.
Because see, I know this. My vote is going to influence my sister's vote. It might influence my daughter's vote. I don't know about that. But it's going to influence some people in my family to vote too. We are not leading the way we serve. We're not doing what we need to do to make sure that we are getting a piece of the American pie. I just want y'all to like us on Facebook.
Yeah.
Follow us on Twitter.
Yeah.
We're going to be here till we can't be here no more.
That's right.
Doing what we need to do.
Yeah.
To be that voice in the wilderness.
Yeah.
Be that voice. Be that constant alert to our community.
Okay.
We got to.
Yes. It's also important that, yes, we are the vote, but we need the support of the community behind it. We can't sit here and say this and then nobody supports when it comes time to vote.
To vote.
You know,
And see, and I'm telling you, you're right. That's why we starting now. See, because a lot of us ain't thinking about the election that's going to happen in November this year.
Yeah.
You're right.
They talking about 2024. We got a lot of local elections that we need to clean house.
That's right. We need
to be
clean
talking about
house.
these folks. We need to be calling them out.
Republican and Democrat.
Yes.
We need to clean house and start all over again if we have to. And give them their term. And if they don't do what they say they were going to do, at least 3 to 5 things they said they were going to do, the platform that they ran on, then we need to vote them out and put somebody else in and keep going until they understand that we mean business.
Yeah,
but
we mean business.
We mean business.
Yeah, and we need to train voters to vet these candidates.
That's right.
You know, don't just accept them just because they have a D in front of their name.
Exactly.
You need yes, you got a D, but do you believe in this? Vet them. You know, what is your opinion about this? You know, or one of the things by vetting them, you may make them aware. They don't know everything, and so you got to make them aware of the things that are concerning you.
That's right.
Regardless to whether it's a D or an
Show
R
up
in
at the
front of your
council
name.
meetings and the town halls, ask the questions.
Yes.
You know, you got to do things like that. And, you know, because I know I'm sure a lot of people understand that black people used to be Republicans. And we were very successful Republicans. And things were moving in the right direction. But again, the infiltration of the enemy. Division. So then it started with that to now we all I'm soon to be Democrats.
Yes.
We need to vote.
We need to vote. Don't forget the Sons of Atlanta.
Yes.
SonsofAtlanta.org. Go there. Participate. This is not just a monument in the park. It's a statement for change in America.
Yes.
It's a unity call, and it's calling out veterans first, because we are the citizens that upheld this nation when it needed us to do so. So to next week, we want to thank Melton. Now, Melton, you got to come back again.
Oh, yes.
You got to come back again, because see, me and Tony are here, and what we do, we need your voice, because see, a lot of people forget that we got a lot of sisters that are veterans.
Exactly.
And they need to share their story. They need to tell their story, because we need to make sure that we gonna get these people going into the poll in 2023. We're gonna make some change. We're gonna have an impact.
Yeah.
Because we ain't waiting till November.
No.
You know, we're gonna work this up until November. When they go to the poll, we're gonna have some different results.
Yeah.
Because see, we're gonna vet these people by going down to their office now while they're in office.
That's right.
And telling them, listen, I don't want no automatic weapon in my streets. Now you gonna what you gonna do about that?
Or finding out what their attitude is, and calling them out. So we can say we went to the office of this particular representative, asking them about their stand on automatic weapons. And once we do that,
JoJo done been in the he done been in the thing.
So we want everybody, just as reported before, we're building a memorial in Piedmont Park. Here's an opportunity for you to contribute, have your name, your family name, your organization's name. So until next week, join us on Facebook, Instagram, and make your presence known. Comment, but support us and support the memorial. And so until next week, same time, same station, Veterans Talk. It ain't nothing but a thing.